Hey guys, Chris Rivers here. Hopefully you had a chance to watch the vulnerability training overview and listen to my interview with Amy Fletcher on episode 20 of the Culture Bus Tools podcast. In this video, I'm going to review the Great Annual Examin and discuss the 5 major categories that help guide you in evaluating your life. Amy mentioned in the podcast that vulnerability is the courage to show up as yourself in all situations, and that you have to know yourself to be able to show up as yourself. So with that said, I'm going to take some time to review the results of my 2019 Great Annual Examin results. I find sometimes that's helpful to see someone else's work completed so that I can be more prepared to do it myself. And then the second thing I'm going to do is show you how to make a copy of the Great Annual Exam so you can have a template going forward to fill out for yourself or for a team member or an accountability partner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is the Great Annual Examin template. You can see that I've got this as a Google document right now. And if you are a Google user like myself, you can most certainly, after you click on the link below, just click File and then make a copy. And what that'll do is it'll put a copy of it in your Google Drive. And what I would go ahead and do is leave it just like this. Create a folder, maybe a 2019, 2020, whichever year that you're doing this in, and go ahead and create a folder for that. So make a folder, call it 2020 yearly reflections, and then go ahead and save this new copy in that folder. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And that way you'll now be able to edit this document and it'll belong to you. Now, I would say, first of all, on the copy of the Great Annual Examin that we just did together, I would not touch that. I would make that your template going forward. However, if you don't have Google Drive, you can certainly click File and hit Download as a Microsoft Word document. Now, I've already downloaded it. It actually opened it up in Pages, so it's going to look just like what you're seeing right now. It's just a document that you can use. Like I said, wherever you go and save this, I would keep it. I would save it as this document and keep it as a template, and don't mess with the template. The reason being is because it's helpful to actually do this by making a copy and then filling it out for yourself. But I would seriously encourage you to do this with other people, and then that'll give them a chance to actually collaborate with you and to help practice vulnerability. So that's a little bit of the overview on how to take that to the next level. The next thing I would do, let's go over these sections. The first section is, of course, the examination of my life. So the first question, what are the most important events that have happened to me or in me this year? Just begin to write, words, just keep writing in the document. It's kind of formatted for you to be able to do that. Whatever's important, whatever has happened to you this year, write that down. I would say even events that maybe are positive or negative, I would add those. The next question, what are the greatest breakthroughs in any category of my life this past year? These are going to be the 5 categories. So begin to think through that. Like, what happened to you physically this year, relationally, vocationally? That would be work. What happened to you spiritually this year, and with people. If you don't have a job, but your job is school, I would say talk about that in vocation. What has been the greatest struggle of my life this year? Write it down. Click in the box and just begin to write words here. What has been the greatest and deepest loss this past year? What has been an area that has consumed my thinking, attention, and focus this past year? Where have I felt the most vulnerable in my life? Where have I most experienced the presence of God this past year, and why? In the past 12 months, what area of my life has given me the most consolation? This would be peace, contentment, shalom, beauty. Just think of these great things that have happened that have given you just consolation. In the past 12 months, what area of my life has given me the most desolation? So this would be the opposite. And then what is one word that you would begin to sum up this past year? So I would just go through these. This might take you a couple hours, so make sure that you get to a quiet place. Do this at the end of the year, and that'll be the first section. The second section are going to be focusing on the 5 categories. So we're going to break down physical health, relational, spiritual, vocational, and so forth. So these are great questions to think through. What are 5 words that describe my physical health? condition and well-being this past year? How many hours of sleep do you think you got on average? I mean, I would say 8 hours is recommended. I don't do a great job of sleep. I think I get about 7 hours. I'm not on the average. What choices have I given attention to regarding my health this past 12 years? What specific goals do I want to achieve these coming 12 months? And then it's going to go into the emotional. So what are the 5 feelings? What's the happiest? What's the saddest? What areas of my life have given me a sense of internal stress? How do I feel about my emotional well-being this past year? And then it's going to move into vocational, and it's going to allow you to think about, hey, did you love work or did you work to live? And I'll just make that that actually shouldn't be bulleted. It actually should just be, that was actually what I was. I love to work. I think it's a lot of fun. So where do you feel like you are in one of these boxes? I believe I work 50 hours a week. Actually, this should be a blank. You'd want to fill that in. So this is all editable, of course. And then in my job right now, giving me a sense of contentment, satisfaction. We'll move on to relational health. These are incredible questions to be wrestling through. And then the last section is going to be just a prayer of gratitude and then a prayer for the future. So here's what I would do. I would make a copy of this. I would take time at the end of the year to work through this in your life, spend a couple hours, get away from your house, away from your job, away from your office, and fill this thing out. And then I would consider maybe emailing a friend, texting a friend. I know for me, I asked one of my best friends, Tim Wixon, if he would give me the opportunity to sit with him, take him to breakfast. We met halfway from Greenville to the Augusta, Georgia area. We met at a Chick-fil-A, and I had a printed copy of mine filled out for him and a printed copy for me. And we just basically reviewed it. I told him every question. I told him every statement that I made. And when I was finished with each one, I would ask him, like, what do you think about that? Do you have anything else that you would say? And this will kickstart that opportunity maybe to do it next year with a person. But I think it's great to be able to review this with people and do some of the things that Amy talked about in that episode. So take that, think through that, and I believe that this will be really rich and rewarding for you. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how do you cultivate ideas for the coming year or for the first time that you ever begin to do this around these 5 ideas. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you're able to use this and it blesses you as much as it's blessed me. Okay, I'll see you at the next video.